The Black Sea region, which lies along the coastline where northern Anatolia touches Black Sea, besides its natural richness, also has a great historical heritage, witnessing a large span of time from long before Christ to the present. These shows viewed the parade of history since Caliphs, Tiberans, and Mosaic tribes had inhabited small territories as they couldn't go beyond the mountains extending parallel to the coast. Eastern Black Sea region still carries the traces of all those civilizations in its culture and demographic structure. A cosmopolitan way of life has its roots for centuries. The French researcher Derol, who had been to this region some 120 years ago, mostly talks about the bazaars in his memories. Having enjoyed his time with a hookah and Turkish coffee offered by the owner of a wooden shoplet, Derol observed the differences among the Turkish, Greek, and Armenian merchants. With its newly completed archaeological studies, it's now quite certain that eastern Black Sea coasts have a big historical legacy, though not as rich as it is in Aegean and Mediterranean regions. But the current facade of eastern Black Sea cities, which implies too fast an urbanization, leaves back nearly no hints about that legacy. Houses and districts of post-Ottoman period can still be found in these cities, but only a few in number. Thousands of years, the matriarchal pattern reigned in Anatolia. That characteristic still continues in the Black Sea region in an almost traditional form. And in just the same way, it symbolizes itself in women's bazaar, where all the buyers and sellers are women. As one remembers the fact that famous mythological Amazon women had spent their lives on these coasts, the share of truth in that coincidence becomes significant. Those women are described by Homer as legendary creatures, never dismounting from the horses with the axes in their hands and being bold enough to cut off one of their breasts to make space for their bows and arrows. It so seems that from the period of Amazons to our era, the place of women in Black Sea society kept its importance and determinative quality, though it transformed a lot. The basic reason for that is the emigration of young male population to the big cities, as the only regional livelihood is no more than tea and hazelnut cultivation, besides fishery. Thus the women living in villages and left with the management of family also become a decisive factor in consumption, as well as their contributions in productive process, of which the female dominance is an inevitable consequence. The eastern Black Sea mountains, where at some points with an altitude of 3,000 meters, have some small glacial lakes on its hills reaching high above 2,000 meters. During the 9 months of the year, these lakes, nurtured by hundreds of rivers gliding down from the snow-covered crests, give shelter to various types of fishes, including trout and carp. Silence and the coolness of the hills in summer seasons also have an accommodational appeal for both native residents and tourists. Scattered settlement due to the mountainous nature is another characteristic of the region that's worth attention. Black Sea region, which is the leading tea store of Turkey, has little to do with stock breeding in spite of the natural convenience. Besides the natural lakes, there are also dazzling plateaus on the high plains where Trabzon-Zigana and Zigana-Kaçkar mountains meet each other. Dwelling on plateaus is one of the oldest traditions of Anatolia. In order to tolerate the hard summer conditions more easily and to provide cattle with pasture, moving the plateaus is one of the most important occasions bringing activity to the ordinary daily life. People separated from each other because of the hilly nature of the country during the long winter season meet again as the spring comes. Sometimes in small groups, sometimes in great convoys, villagers gather on the roads to plateaus where they are going to be far from the madding crowd for 3 months. Once in plateau, they spend the most of their time to prepare themselves for the long, hard winter. For example, dairy products are stored in large quantities. Before the autumn comes, the carts are loaded again and they make their way to the village. That intense activity for the winter is not only limited to the plateaus. The upkeep of stoves, which are still very common as a means of heating, and the woven rugs are also a part of this business. Those looms weaving the patterns of the secluded world and stoves with their friendly warmth seem to perpetuate for long in the Black Sea region as they are in various parts of Anatolia. Although the small manual looms are indispensable for rug and wool weaving, the pure cotton weaving is handled by more mechanized ateliers. There are similar specialties which are carried to almost every corner of Black Sea region by the same ethnic and cultural past. Considered with the geographical structure, one needs not to be so attentive to notice several features, from the traditions to the way of life, from the human physiognomy to the mode of settlement. For instance, the houses, which are regarded as the symbol of the region with their typical construction. Made of stone and wood, these houses especially reflect the creativity of their masters with their setting in nature and functional design. Now in big cities, then in distant mountain villages, the houses, resisting the time and the destructive force of nature, preserve themselves till our time, but lessening, aging gradually, as all the richness destined to vanish, as the Black Sea Horon, a folk dance performed by the people of Black Sea region. The churches and the other residues of Christian culture, which had reigned there for centuries, are still to be found at even the remotest villages. The Sümela Monastery, however, is the greatest and the most important historical edifice of not only Black Sea region, but of Anatolia. Sümela, or also known as Virgin Mary Monastery, belongs to the early periods of Christianity in Anatolia. How it's been built on the surface of a rock of 1,300 meters high is still a mystery. With 6 stories, 72 rooms, and at a height of 17 meters, though Sümela Monastery has received 3 big restorations through the centuries, today it is facing the danger of collapse. The frescoes on the walls describing the miracles told in the Bible are certainly of great value, but they have been eroded by the unending touch of time. If the deeply rooted relationship with the soil is one half of daily life, the other half is with the sea, or should we say was, because these coasts used to keep the majority of vessel ateliers. Today, they are getting wide apart. Furthermore, the Black Sea is not any more generous to its people as it used to be a few years ago. Several kinds of fishes become extinct. Vessels are not launched to the sea. Ateliers wait for the orders of wealthy yacht skippers. People are reluctant to believe this dying of the light, no matter how the scientists explain it. The people and the vessels, with a determined hope, expect that old fraternity to be born again.